Welcome to SFLiberalBuzzE. My name's Denise Dory. I'm your host. And it's been since before Thanksgiving that I was here last, so I've got quite a bit of information to share with you. Actually, and if you would like to give me a follow, follow Denise Dory, and I'll give you a follow back. So we'll go down. First of all, I'm trying to get used to new equipment, so please bear with me. I apologize for the delay. Brand new studio, new equipment. It smells like a brand new car in here, so it's quite lovely, really. So a lot's happened. It's quite fascinating. Okay, what jury nullification means for the drug war. There's an article about that, and why Google is funding Grover Norquist, Heritage Action, and ALEC. The Koch brothers are behind that, and so much for the will of the people. The DEA proposes new drug code for marijuana extracts. So there's an article there too that I read. They're doing a lot of things behind the scenes with cannabis and legally. So also there's alcohol's role in auto accidents, where alcohol is far more likely to cause it be detected in the blood of fatally injured drivers. So that's something to think about. And we need different committees for medical cannabis patients and weed lobbyists, because they have different interests, and we're trying to get our supervisors to understand that. They thought that, well, they could put us all together on the same committee and that we'd all hold hands, and it didn't happen. So anyway, it's kind of like having dogs and cats live in a little cardboard box. It's not going to happen. So then there's in 2006, researchers announced that THC is more effective at preventing Alzheimer's disease than any other substance or drug. So there's that. And the war on democracy, how corporations and spy agencies use security to defend profiteering and crush activism. So there's also that. The spying goes to where even the chips we manufacture have the backdoor switches. So I've been reading about that and talking about it with people online. So, cannabis compounds proven to have modification, strength, and gene activity, preventing disease in future generations. So that's big. I think the growth of hemp, prolific growth of hemp, could save the world, save the planet. It could, you notice there hasn't been any rain in California. This is the first. I've been in California for 6 decades, and I've never seen this little rain, ever. So I'm freaking out. We need to plant lots of hemp and do it now. So also, what if patients want legal home grows and small patient collectives, not pharmaceutical cannabis? The weed war is not over. And feeding the homeless is being banned all over the country. And this guy reckons feed them anyway. I retweeted what he had to say. And let's get back up here. Leaked UN paper shows the world is realizing that drug laws cause more harm than the drugs. A lot of papers are being leaked, and that's why we're getting information. We need more about the TPP. Let's get to the cannabis compounds proved to have modification strength. Well, I just saw that. Trying to get used to the new equipment. Medical cannabis patients and weed lobbyists. Yeah, we were there. That's good. Here. Apple, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Yahoo, LinkedIn, Twitter, and AOL need their customers to feel safer. They're going to lose money, aren't they? So there's that. Woman replaces 40 medications with raw cannabis juice, and the shocking results. So that's big. I mean, raw cannabis juice. You don't have to smoke it. It's not psychoactive. You just take the raw plant just like you would juice, spinach leaves. You put it through your juicer and drink it, and it's got great health benefits I've been reading about. And Detroit, do not let the bankers loot your valuable art. Please, please, just charge. There's enough money. There's actually Greece is being looted for it's happening in more places than just Detroit, where art is being looted because it's considered valuable. So, I got a call here. Let's see. Oh, gosh. It's legal to tailgate or hold barbecues in St. Louis without a permit, but do not share hot homemade meals with the public. That's ironic. That's very hypocritical. And we've got, let's go up a little bit more. Mayor Ed Lee to lunch with tech leaders on challenges facing San Francisco when the community was locked out of that meeting. So that was sad. We would have liked to have dined with them for lunch. Federal judge rules that an NSA phone program is likely unconstitutional. Of course, you heard about Uruguay being the first country to legalize cannabis. Don't be evil. Google caught funding anti-government right-wing groups like the Koch brothers and Norquist agendas. $33 billion offshore. So there's that. Clear Channel rebrands 2 stations. So my favorite radio station I like to listen to in the morning isn't there anymore. It's Rush Limbaugh now and their agenda. But it's all about the money. Nobody's really listening to them, but it's about the elections. It's an election year. They just, and you notice on TV that's all they talk about are the elections. And it's in 3 years. We have to live for now. It's too much. So Prop D created a coercive monopoly in LA where prices go up and quality goes down. Because see, when you only have a couple of dispensaries, because they've forced everyone else out because of, I don't know, complaints to the, making friends in the right places, those dispensaries can get their friends in the right places to make legislation so that they no more dispensaries can open near them. So there's that. And your TV is watching you. That's funny. I have a little video of that. It just depends on the brand of TV you have. And I don't know, let's see, what do you think about Fukushima radiation hitting San Francisco? We should have Geiger counters on the beach next to the binoculars. We should have Geiger counters there too. That's what I think. California governor pardons 93 drug offenders. And banker bonuses, 91 billion in bankster bonuses this holiday season. So they might want to donate their bonuses. You think they did? Don't hold your breath. And the BART cops at 16th and Mission Station have been making an effort to push people out of the area where meals are served. Food Not Bombs are experiencing pressure by the cops. So China holds the most patent on the cannabis herb, and so we can thank William Randolph Hearst and Anslinger for that. And did you know that the FBI no longer investigates white-collar crime? They're not motivated to. I saw, there's a story on Max Kaiser. You can go to Max Kaiser's blog and you can see it. It was on January 11th, a Saturday episode. And Marijuana Control Legalization and Revenue Act 2014 ballot initiative. There's actually, you can get to it on my Twitter feed. I've got it also written down. I don't have the opaque projector. I can show it to you. I suppose I could read it. Small print. Okay. The main thing is MCLR lets you have your kids back if you're a cannabis patient, so that's fantastic. The other ones don't. The Jack Herrera, and of course the other one, which would be where it's not a ballot initiative, it's more of a showing. Hey, here she is, my guest. So CRTM is not as much of a ballot initiative as it is an imposition by the Assembly and Tom Amiano, right? So the other two are ballot initiatives, and I heard that there's more ballot initiatives as well, more than 2 for California.
We're actually looking at maybe even 5 or something, a little bit unmanageable, and it's actually...
Can we get a studio shot? Studio shot, just both of us. Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
It's actually a little bit alarming because, with the MCLR 2014 ballot, we had over, 1,000 activists really participating in creating something that would be universally accepted amongst the activists. And then you have sort of DPA trying to act as the Illuminati, top-down people saying, hey, we didn't work with everybody, but ours is always the best because we have the money and the name. And that's worked for them so far, but hopefully this time it won't. Hopefully everybody can really, call it what it is and say, hey, if you had useful pointers or a way that you wanted to work with the California community, maybe working with us the last year would have been the path.
Which reminds me, you did add some input to the MCLR ballot initiative. You were saying, I wanted to learn more about what kind of language, how you added to the language.
Well, it was the first group that really approached me about the needs of people who provide for people that are low income and for low income people. And so we worked out a portion of the legislation that enables and really gives some rewards to people who are willing to provide for not just low income, disabled patients and veterans, but also families that have children that are either chronically or severely ill, to be able to get their medicine for free and to be able to get sort of a category assigned to what is a compassionate caregiver. And it's sort of part of how do we keep California compassionate. And nobody else has ever asked for that, in legislation except for Dave Hodges, DJ Kuti, Bob Bowerman, and John Lee. Nobody else has asked how do we assure that the people who need the medicine the most that can't afford the market rates are able to get less toxic health care, right? Because that's really what it is. I mean, if you're looking at your child having a seizure every day and being told you can give them this toxic cocktail, the choices that weigh on a mother's heart, or they could have a cannabis lollipop and get through the day and have less toxicity. The choice is pretty obvious, right? But then how do we support the provider that's going to grow that medicine for free for that family?
So does that sort of tie into this Steele Smith compassionate grower that I read the article about it, and I think I remember hearing about it too in April of 2010. Now the story cuts off in April 2010. What I've got written down is since 2001, Steele Smith had digestive disorder, ulcers, and was given opiates, and he tried rapid detox, nearly killing him. Steele got a medical cannabis recommendation and goes to a dispensary in LA, then decides that the medicine is so effective for him that he decided to open a small collective. MCD Cannabis helped him regain his health. He wanted to help others. So the safe access that he was helping the community with safe access. So he had 1,000 patients he was serving, and at that time, when just as he was going with 1,000 patients, the police stumbled into his apartment and seized 18 plants, $1,000, patient records, and 4 pounds of medical cannabis with no charges filed. He tried to get his property back, and it wasn't returned. And then later, in 2007, that was in 2001. In 2007, the paramilitary a raid by the feds who killed his dog, destroyed the home looking for drugs, leaving the door open for intruders to just grab what they wanted. And in April 2010, the judge Cormack rules medical marijuana will be heard as testimony. I just wanted to bring you all up on that. So is that good news for collectives?
Well, with Steele Smith, what he's doing is he's involved in the trademark battle with the current lobbyist firm that Steph Shear and Don Duncan created, which is Americans for Safe Access, Patients for Peace, Safe Access Now. They have all these little branch shoot-offs, right? But at the core of it, the trademark battle isn't so much about a design or a name or anything like that. It's that when Steele got out of federal prison, he served 10 months in federal prison, and he actually owns the trademark. But when he got out of prison, what he found was an ASA that wasn't doing the good work, an ASA that was a sort of a shallow, more creating monopolies. For example, we have Los Angeles currently slicing the throats of 700 collectives and only having 110 who are all paying money to Don Duncan. So he didn't want what he owned legally to be attached to such short-sighted vision of what drug policy should be. Now, if you want to have a lobbying firm like Steph and Don do, they should just register as lobbyists and be transparent about the fact of which collectives they're sort of trying to create a monopoly for, instead of trying to front themselves off as serving the whole public and all of the patient's needs. So I had a lunch with him today to find out a little bit more about what he was about, you know, because I had kind of heard, oh, well, he's just coming in like, you know, colonizing and saying I own this and, you know, etc. And he doesn't, you know, he has no designs at all at owning Access of Love. Nobody ever could except for the Access of Love members. But what his real concern is look, I own the trademark and you did terrible things with it. I came out of prison to find out that I own something that's now associated with shutting down 700 collectives in Los Angeles. Do you blame the man for saying, hey, I don't want to be a part of this? But now he's not only saying, hey, I don't want to legally own the trademark that, you know, crucified all these other collectives and really shut out patient access. He's saying, well, what can I do? I don't want to just say, oh, you did this wrong. Now I need to learn how to do this better. And so he interviewed me today about the needs of poor patients in San Francisco. So I found that really promising because to date, nobody's really, other than people running for office, have ever sat down from a drug policy lobbying firm and said, hey, how do we serve poor patients the best? Probably because they're lobbying firms and they're not actually drug policy firms, right? I mean, that's where I kind of go with it. But it was my first meeting with him, and you know, I move slowly to judge. But I think that the thing not only that really puts my backing behind the MCLR 2014 is that it's one of the few also that protects parental rights. Because we have a lot of, as you know, we've all heard, we have people having their children and grandchildren being grabbed by CPS.
Yes.
And none of these other, you know, bills even address that. The fact that, you know, people want the alcohol beverage control, I mean, that's just crazy.
And only 1 ounce?
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the compare and contrast chart, which I suggest everyone really does.
Go to my Twitter feed.
Go to Denise's Twitter feed, really look at it, and it's really simple for me to go, what would be the best thing for everyone in California? You know?
A more inclusive bill. There's 2 more coming out, I heard. We're talking about that at the Medical Cannabis Working Group, about there being 2 more ballot initiatives.
Well,
so we have 4.
So there's, 4, possibly 5. So we've got, you know, something put forward by the DPA, and now we have Ed Rosenthal, and I believe in the shadows, Mickey Martin, who put out something, you know, equally as terrible. It's a shame, you know. Ed definitely knows me.
This reminds me of San Francisco's last mayoral election.
Yes, actually very similar. And it's almost comical, you know, because it's just like, look, this great effort was put forward to have everyone have an open source to work together so we could pass something for California. So instead of all these guys bringing their ideas or concepts or vetting it out with everybody, they just want, you know, either it's ego or money, you know, instead of good policy. And I just really encourage everybody to vote for good policy.
All fools rush in, you know.
Right? They really do in this.
They do. It's shocking how fast people will accept these. Oh, it's a ballot initiative. I heard people talking about how great Prop L was a few years ago, where it would have added fines. And, you remember, it was the last ballot initiative we had in, I think it was 2010, and you know, even Washington reporters were talking about how awful it was that we were, we voted it down, you know. Like, no, it wasn't. It was good because it would have added extra penalties. It was just another bad initiative. So, anyway, what are we going to talk? Well, we've got about 30 seconds left. So, why don't we talk about this real fast, this Ross Mercurini. This,
So basically what the working group did is it came up with a quick, 6 or so points, 7 actually, for our planning department, who is going to be making a recommendation to our board of supervisors on how to change the laws in San Francisco.
5 seconds, when?
As soon, they're going to push it through as quickly as they can, so it's something to keep track of.
All right.